technically they've done what they were supposed to do. And then you just walk right by it and you never even look at... How many people here have a driver's license and never even read the Motor Vehicle Act? How many people here have a social insurance number, never read the Employment Act? You get into this stuff, people get a student loan, they never read the act. They never look for any remedy, they just start arguing and complaining about how they're owing so much money, and they never look at the act under which they begged for the assistance in the first place. The process for this is the same process you're going to apply to anything, because this money can arguably be used for anything that's a benefit to yourself and your society simultaneously, and is recognized as a fundamental human right by Canada by virtue of their signatory on a covenant. The covenants that Canada has signed to recognizing as human rights, they're pretty basic. You have a right to education. You have a right to travel. You have a right to food, shelter, health care. You have a right to access to the courts. You have a right to engage in your political actions within your government, within your society. These are all of your rights that you have. You cannot try to use this money to go to Vegas, hire hookers, smoke crack, and feed the machines. That's not a benefit to one of you. You can't use it per se to build a big castle and claim, oh, this is the shelter I need. There must be limits there that you can argue and say, listen, this is what I have. If you start looking at whether or not do I have a right to buy an Armani suit, or do I have a right to go to Value Village and just get the basics I need? If you are going the low end, no one can stop you. If you try stretching it, eventually they're going to say this is not clearly a benefit to both. And you want to find the path where it's clearly a benefit to both. Paying off your mortgage, ordering your mortgage paid, done deal. Anytime you get an order, this has been used successfully by people to pay off court orders where they were ordered to pay to file income tax, and because they hadn't, well, they weren't ordered to file income tax, but they were ordered to pay $1,000 per charge for not filing. And then they never even tried ordering them again, but it came to $4,000. They used a bill of exchange drawn on this account to discharge this, and it was zeroed out. This is your money, folks. This is your country. We are all equal. Who do you think owns it? How do you think they evidence this ownership? How do you think they get the right to play with your money if not through this? And if that's not the case, why don't they tell you what this number is for on those documents? People they use deception. If you shine the light of truth on their deception, ask them questions. In the student loan program, I don't suggest you just run out and say, oh, I heard this guy and it made sense and I love what he's saying, so I'm doing it. There's due diligence that you must engage in. The first step is you write a letter to your MP, your MLA, the guy I'm telling you is your fiduciary agent, and ask them to deny it. Say, are you willing to deny this under your oath and upon full commercial liability? If they don't, you ask them a series of questions, and you say, you answer these questions, and if not, I do, and we're both bound by these answers. Because of this it's law. Because of this process, and it's beautiful, isn't it?
Well, that's why I'm laughing.
I know, and it's so simple. We knew the law in grade 3, grade 4. We've been forgetting it since then. In grade 3, you knew how to play King of the Hill, tag your it. You knew that if someone called you a poopy head and you didn't say, I'm rubber, you're glue, whatever you say bounces off me, sticks to you. If you didn't deny, come the time when you're playing recess, everyone's calling you a poopy head, aren't they? Because you didn't deny it. You knew the law, and this is simply a process of law. You're trying to get to a point where you can express an understanding. If this understanding is a result of you asking them questions, they refuse to respond, you then say, here's the answers, and we're both bound by it, and then from there you serve your notice of understanding. You say, listen, Canada has signed and acknowledged that I have a right to this free post-secondary education. Deny it. Tell me how. They have done everything they could, and the way to get them is you don't go after them and claim, we have this right and you have failed. You go at them and you say, we have this right and you have succeeded. Way to go. Thank you very much. And let them say, no, we have failed in our duties and you don't have free post-secondary education yet. They can't do it. They've given it to you. It's right there, but you have to educate yourself enough to go and grab it. This same process can be used. It's very simple. It's a notice of your understanding, a notice of your intent, a claim of the right to do this. You serve these basic things on anyone who might be affected by it, anyone who is demanding payment, and I don't care why they're demanding payment. I don't care if they're a collection agency. I don't care if they are a bank, a court, a government agency, whatever. You're going to find the exact same process, the exact same steps will bring you to the remedy you seek. You serve your notice of your understanding, a notice of your intent, operate upon a claim of right, and you will find a lot of these demands that they're making, thank you very much, it's paid. And you are not harming, you are not ripping off, you are actually doing something that is extraordinarily beneficial for your society. You are taking us out of debt and you're creating a stronger and a more dynamic society where we have power over the government and we're not feeling like we're being crushed.
Right.
Here, here.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Is that number on the back of the birth certificate, does that in any way tie into the SIN number?
No. No, your social insurance number, I believe, is entirely separate, and what it does is it puts you into the realm of being a government agent or employee, and you've done so, here's my bond, take care of that. So
does this apply to an immigrant who's a Canadian citizen?
If you can vote,
Canadian citizen.
if you can vote, then that number exists, or if it doesn't, if that right doesn't, the right must be there. That's what citizenship must entail. And yet, if it's not clearly there, it's still your remedy is going to be serving a notice of understanding and intent and claim of right. And claim the right as an immigrant. Say, hey, I'm just as Canadian as anyone else now. And the way I look at it, all of these boundaries, none of those are made by God. Those are all made by man, and they are all meant to divide us and to keep us separate.
But if the person's a citizen, then it applies.
I would believe that it would. Although there's another argument that says only those who are born here would have a right to this claim, that otherwise you might be able to make a counterclaim. But personally, if I had to choose, I would defend. If I was an immigrant here, I would claim the right.
Benefit to society.
Yeah. Yeah, I would claim the right.
Do you forego health benefits if you
No. Bear in mind, they have a duty to provide you with health care, and if you craft a notice of understanding and intent that covers that and says you have a duty to provide me. See, they talk about health insurance and how you must have health insurance. They cannot deny you health coverage because you don't have insurance. All they can do is maybe get a different way of paying for it, but you've got every right, craft a notice of understanding and intent and say, okay, I'll pay for the insurance, but the payments are coming from this. Or payment for the health care itself is coming from this. And what I've done before is I've secured services from them. I broke my elbow. I said, I don't have health insurance. I don't intend on getting it, but you're welcome to bring me a bill. And I asked them for a bill, and none of them wanted to hit me with a bill.
Just from that statement?
Well, I told them I don't have insurance, I'm not getting any, but I'll pay for it. If you give me a proper bill, I will honor your bill. And I figured I'd pay for it. It was my own stupidity, I'd pay for it. But none of them could actually and lawfully give me a bill because they have a fundamental duty to provide the services anyways. And what they're doing with the insurance is just finding double payment. They're getting you to pay for something that you can achieve by way of a claim of right. But instead you're applying for insurance.
This is really important, Robert. Myself and a pile of us are sons of mine. I got to pay about $120 every time I see a medical doctor because I refuse to take drugs, so I have to.
No, because you have not served a notice of understanding and intent and a claim of right. That's why you're doing that.
Okay, so if I, what would I have to do? Like this is.
You would have to craft a notice of understanding and intent and a claim of right.
We all have to pay privately, so. Basically, we can.
Dude, if you, yes, and if you're starting with the concept that we have to pay, then that's where the game is starting from. You've already lost.
For future appointments.
Yeah, well, I would serve them a notice of understanding and intent. Let it bring them to the place where you understand, yes, you're going to be paid. Essentially, you're not avoiding payment. All you're doing is you're accessing an account that you didn't know you had access to prior, and you're going to be writing, instead of a check on a bank account, a bill of exchange on this account.
Thank you. That's very important.
So don't want a
Tablets.
doctor then.